cherries, it's Jessica here from A Cherry on Top, and today I'm working with the February cherry box. This is what is all in the box. It includes this cute album, a stencil, some chipboard, a stamp, and then these products from the Simple Vintage Love Story collection. This is such a beautiful collection, and I'm going to use it to fill up this mini album. I've been really excited about getting started with this project. I love making mini albums, and I love it when the cherry box is a cute kit that everything just goes really nicely together. So that's what I'm working with. I am starting by adding some gesso over this chipboard piece, and I like to gesso it first because then whatever color I put on top just pops a little bit more. And I've noticed with the chipboard pieces, if you don't put gesso on them, the paint will stick or suck into the chipboard a little bit more. If you don't want to use the gesso, just do a couple coats of your regular paint and that should work fine too. Next, I'm going over with the white that I wanted. This is a milk white, and I did that step first so I could set it to the side and let it dry. Now I'm going to start adding paper to my cover, and I'm doing this by cutting a 4x4 piece on both the front and the back, and then I'll also cut a 1.5 slit for the spine piece. And with all of these pieces of paper, I'm going to distress all of the edges using this Sizzix distress tool. And I'm also going to do this on all of the pages on the inside of the album as well. I really like the distressed look that it gives, and I think especially when working with a vintage looking collection, it just really adds some more texture and it makes sense with the collection. I'm gluing all of my pieces on with some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, and now I'm going to start designing the cover. I always start with the cover because that's the page that everybody will always see the most. I'm grabbing this rub-on bird. I thought it was really pretty and a nice size, so I'm sticking that on a piece of cardstock and then I will fussy cut it out. These rub-ons come with this popsicle stick that you can easily rub it on, and then you can see how I'm fussy cutting it out. Next, I wanted to add some foliage, so I die cut some white cardstock out, and these were some leaves that I had in my stash, and I am dabbing them with a couple different shades of green paint, and now I can use them throughout the process of decorating my album. I'm starting to glue everything together here. And again, all of these little tags and tickets, I am distressing those edges as well. Pretty much if it has a straight edge, I ended up distressing it. I didn't bother distressing any flowers or butterflies or things like that, but that's definitely something you could also do. I'm sticking down these foliage pieces, and you can see how just a little bit of extra foliage adds some more texture and dimension, and also that mixed media look that I love. I'm using some cherry foam dots to pop up this bird so it's a little bit more dimensional, and I'll be doing this throughout the album, just making things pop a little bit more because there are a lot of spaces in between these pages. So adding some foam and a lot of layers looks really nice with this album. These are some berries that I had from a Prima collection from a while ago, so I decided to add them on here as well, and then I go over with a dry brush, putting a tiny bit of gesso on that brush, and I went over the leaves and the berries. Now I'm going to start working on the inside. So you can see I'm again distressing all of these pages, and then each of the pages also got covered with some patterned paper. All of them are cut 4x4 inches and distressed, and then I glued them on using the same Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. I like to glue in all of my backgrounds first because I think it makes it a little bit less intimidating and it speeds up the process quite a bit, at least for me, to get all of the backgrounds in before I start embellishing. Now I am creating a page that I'll have a tie on and then it flips open. So I first cut it to 4 inches by 12 inches and then I'm scoring it at 1 inch and then 4 inches over from that 1 inch, 4 inches over again. And then you can see when I fold it up, it creates this cute little pocket. And I'll add some reinforcer on the edge here, and then I'll also punch a hole, and then I'll add some twine so I can tie this piece together. My hole punch worked fine for the top, but I couldn't reach it for punching the hole in this part, so I'm just using some scissors and poking my way through. I have this hole reinforcer punch, so I am using that. I think it makes where the string is coming out look a bit more purposeful, so I always like adding them. And then as well, it helps it structurally. So I am just knotting it, and then I didn't want it to fray at all, so I added some glue on the edge. So, and then I'm doing that on both sides. And I am leaving this long until I get the size right, and then I'll cut it down after I tie it. I really like adding these types of pages. They really don't take that much longer and it adds a different cool element. It also adds a bit more of the bulk to fill up these pages. And then also there's a lot more room for photos. So even though this is a small album, you can fit a lot of photos in here. I don't know what photos I'm going to add in here yet, so I will be just putting some white cardstock in place of the photos, and that way I'll still be able to embellish all around them and finish the album. So the last folded page was a side folding one, and then I also wanted to create one that I would glue on the page and it'll go vertically. And so it's the same exact process. I followed all the same steps, and then I'm just gluing it in the book so it goes up and down instead. For this page, I wanted it to be a pocket page and put in one of the cute tags from this collection. And to make it look more like a pocket, I cut a little circle using a punch and distressed it a little bit. And you'll see once I put it on and put the tag in how that lines up pretty nicely. The Simple Stories collections always come with a whole sheet of tags, and it's something that I really like using. You'll see the sheet here, so there's a lot of different options. So I just picked one and I stuck some twine through it and stuck it in the page. I like that there's now something popping up from it. I'll add a few more as well, so it looks like things are just coming out of this album. My next step is I wanted to add a little bit of mixed media to the backgrounds, and this also tones them down a little bit. There's a lot of pattern on these pages, so it tones it down so I can do some more layering with my embellishments. I'm taking a brush that has some coarse bristles. This is actually for stenciling, and I'm just brushing it on the pages here and there. I'm not being super particular, and then I'm also wiping it a little bit with a paper towel just to keep it really thin so it dries really quickly. If you wanted, you could also do this technique with texture paste. That's something I've done a bit in the past. I just didn't want to wait for the drying time. Like if you'd use a crackle texture paste, it would leave you with a really cool crackled effect that I think would look really great with this album. But like I said, I didn't want to wait for the drying, where when I applying it just super light like this, there's almost no drying time. You can see I'm just flipping through the pages, adding some paint, smearing it around a little bit, and then flipping to the next page. And you can also see how it tones down some of these patterns a little bit. It adds a little bit more white and lightness to the pages, and that's just something I like to work with more in my albums. With these strokes, I am trying to keep everything either vertical or horizontal strokes, no diagonals, because when you start adding diagonals, it makes it feel like it's more of a focal point, where I want this to just be in the background. So I'm just sticking to vertical and horizontal. When I want an entire page to get toned down, I'll cover the entire page, or a lot of times I'll just cover one corner or two corners of the page. It's really just going by feel and whatever I think that page needs. Now I'm going to show you a really cute pocket, and this is a really easy one. You just grab any thing that you can fussy cut, and I chose this flower paper just because it was a little bit extra, and I cut around the flowers to create this fun shape around it, and then I'm adding the glue around the three edges, and just like that I have a cute pocket. I like to always add some pockets in my albums. I'll add tags and cards and extra ephemera pieces in them. Here's another little pocket, and I'm doing it the same as I did that larger pocket that I stuck the tag in previously, just this time it's only 2 inches tall, so it's a half size pocket. And at least with my albums, I usually put a pocket either in the front and the back, or at least just the back. So that's what I did with this album as well. The cherry box also has this really cute stamp, and it's on a wood block, which I know a lot of stamps aren't anymore, but this is a really cool one. And then I'm using a circle punch to punch it out. And this is something that I am using more like as an embellishment piece, but you could really add quite a few of them throughout this. So here's a look after I added all of the ephemera pieces and everything else to get it all finished up and cute. You can see how these fold down pages look once they're finished. And you can also see where I added the blank cardstock to where I want to add photos eventually. I'll use these white pieces as more of matting, and I inked around their edges using some blue ink. And you can see how the album really filled out pretty nicely. I think it turned out super cute. Make sure to subscribe to receive the February cherry box. The last day to subscribe is January 25th. So this is one you won't want to miss if you want to make a project like this. So thanks for watching. I hope this gives you some inspiration.